Hi, welcome to the Shiko Math Practice Lab Algebra 2 lecture series. And we are still in the chapter 2, and we're going to the lesson 2.13. So in this video, we're going to talk about parent functions of some specific functions that we are interested in the Algebra 2. The reason why we want to talk about the parent function, because after this, we're going to talk about the transformation and how do we use the transformation to help us to graph our functions here. Okay, so before we take a look at our worksheets, and it will be a pretty easy worksheets, and this video will be a pretty short video. So let's take a look. Let me go to the whiteboard and let's take a look at what type of the functions we are working on in this video here. All right. Okay, so the first one's here, okay? So we're going to talk about the parent function. So today we're going to talk about the 4 specific functions here. Okay, so these 4 functions, the first ones here, we're going to talk about is a constant. Okay, so we're going to talk about is a constant function. Then the next ones here, we're going to talk about is linear functions. Okay, then the next ones here, we're going to talk about is the absolute value function. Okay, and the last ones here we're going to talk about is quadratic functions. Okay, so for the constant functions, so I want to just write in general what is the constant functions looks like. So in here, okay, so the constant functions will just be something like y is a constant. So it's a line, it's a parallel line to the x-axis, right? Okay, so the linear functions here, I think we all did for the chapter 1, we talk about so much about the linear function. So, right, so the linear function could be something like this. All right, and then for the previous couple videos, we talk about how do I do the absolute value functions, right? Okay, so the absolute value function, we said the absolute value function, you can have something like this, right? Okay, so it's a V-shaped, right? So we said the absolute value function is a V-shape. Then in the general, so what is a quadratic function? So the quadratic function we say is a parabola. So sometimes you have a parabola like this, right? So those are the 4 common functions we're dealing with in the Algebra 2. And later we're going to add a few more, but right now we only look for this constant function. So now we want to, so those are the general functions, right? So then we want to see, okay, for this ones here, so what is the parent function looks like? That means what is the very basic function form looks like. So in here, for the constant function, the parent function we just write is y equal to c, right? So c is a constant. Then for the linear functions here, the parent function we will write is y equal to x here. So sometimes people call this one is also, this is identity function. Okay, so this is identity function. That means this function is the function, is the like they go through, it's a diagonal, goes through the origin. So like basically, so let me try to do the dotted line here. So that means this will be my parent function. Then every other function I can derive from the parent function by using the different transformations. Right? So that's what we're going to talk about in the next video is the different transformations. What type of transformation? How do we change from the basic, based on the parent function, then how do we move to the function I want to graph? Okay, so now let's take a look. Then the absolute value function, the parent function will looks like y equal to the absolute value of x, right? Just like the very, very basic. And in the, so what is the parent function going to looks like? The parent function going to looks like this, right? So that's what is the parent function going to looks like this. Like going through the 0, 0 as the vertex, then go to like 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3. So it's kind of like the identity function for each side here. Okay, so then for the quadratic function, the parent function is also a very similar terms here, very simple term. It's just is y equal to the x squared. Those are the parent function. So what is the parent function of the quadratic going to looks like? Is going to start at zeros, right? So like this is my parent function. So like the next video, we're going to talk about if you give me any functions here. So for examples here, right? So for examples here, okay, so if you want me to graph x squared minus 3x minus 4, and how do I graph it, right? So I know, so the way we graph it, or I'm going to show, we're going to do that on the next video. We're going to say, okay, let's start with a parent function. Now, what type of the transformation I need in order to graph this function instead of just choose the points, right? So that's the whole purpose for this video. We're going to introduce you what is the parent function for these 4 functions, a very commonly used function in the Algebra 2 we're going to work on, all right? So now let's go back to our worksheets, and this worksheet is a pretty easy one. So let's take a look at these ones here. Okay, so these ones here, first I have a little brief summary here for you. And so you know what is the, we talk about the constant function and the linear function, the parent function called identity function, absolute value, quadratic. Okay, so like these examples here, so identify what type of the function. So obviously, what is the first ones here? So first one is linear, right? It's a line. So if in order to graph this one, then we can start with the identity function to do it, and then we do the different transformation. Okay, so now for the second ones here, this is obviously so what? This is a quadratic, right? So this is a quadratic functions. Of course, they are deviate. This one is a little deviate from your parent function because for the different transformation. So as here, so for this 6 exercise, those are pretty simple exercises. So basically they want to see what type of the function represent. So like you can see very easily. So that's it. Like I said, this section is a super easy sections here. Then for the next video, we're going to talk about how do you transform, right, from the parent function by the different transformations and go to the function you want. All right, that's it. All right, so like I told you, it's a very short video and it's very easy, and I want to introduce you few like a key concept, right? So make sure you remember what is the parent function looks like for these 4, the common functions, right? So you have to know what the parent function looks like, and then later when we talk about the transformation, then you'll be able to do it. Okay, that's it. You guys have a good day, and it's a short video, and looking forward to talk to you in our next video. That will be a very important video. Is how do we do the transformation? All right. Okay. Bye. Have a good day.